I am doing a bunch of little projects this week, finishing up things before I leave on my trip. At some point, I've got to just say the van build's done, so it is almost done. It'll never be done, seriously. I've already got things I want to change, but that's not happening this year. So I'll talk about things that I wish I'd done differently in a future video. First I'll get out like a full van conversion video to you guys that kind of just has like a time lapse of how it began and where it is after today. And today I am installing the counter surround, and so I'll be glad to get that done. We've got a bunch of little projects done in here. I did the curtain tiebacks, which that was really easy. I just used some scrap fabrics that I had on hand from doing the upholstery and the curtains and the window covers. So I didn't have to spend any extra money, and it was very simple to do. The other thing we did is install these little hooks for hanging a variety of gadgets from. Also, we installed a Hitch Safe, which I'll show you. So it's easy to install. We just have to remove these pins here, and we do that by moving these retaining bars forward like that, and then we can pull the pins out. We put it into the hitch receiver and put the pins back in. Once the pins are back in, we just push these retaining bars back into place. Now this comes with these gaskets. We didn't need but one thin one like this for ours, but depending on the hitch receiver that you have, you may need some more of these gaskets. And there's quite a few there, so I think that it's adequate for most people's needs. It comes with a dust cover. So here's the drawer, and there's room in here for a couple credit cards. I'm not going to use it for that. You slide the drawer in, making sure that you have your combination set. And I'm not going to show you the combination, of course, so let me come back to you. Okay, so I set the combination, and then I pushed the drawer in. It snapped into place, and then I scrambled it, and it won't open now. To open it, I have to do the combination, and it should pop right open. I tested it, and it works great. And it also comes with this dust cover if you want to protect it and conceal that it's there. Now the main reason that we installed that is so if I lose my keys, and I might, if I lose my keys, I have a spare set that with the combination, you know, I can get to. So let me get the counter surround put in and show you that. So we got it in. It was precarious. It almost didn't fit. It was tight right between the faucet and the back here. But it has more that's got to be done to it. Now that it's in, I've got some other little details that need to be added. The design's going to carry on over to here. And I think we're going to put in some screws just to make sure that it doesn't try to warp, because it looks like it could over time warp here in the center. So we'll probably put some screws in, and I'm going to integrate them somehow into the design so that you don't really even think about them being there. So that's my next go. Alright, so we put a layer of clear caulk all along the top here and along the bottom, and we did put a couple screw holes over here and over here, and then I just kind of painted over them so they look like they're part of the design. It should be well protected. If, say, I'm on a slope and water runs down against this edge, it shouldn't get in. So some of the other things I did was I hung these bags up here. I think that they look nice, and they're going to give me a lot more storage. Of all those little small things that I end up just kind of piling somewhere, they can go in these bags now, and they're up out of the way. And what I like about it is if I need to go through them and I'm looking for something, they just come right off, and then I can just dig around in the bottom of it or whatever and hang it right back up. Plus, if I wanted to carry it out somewhere with me, I can, and use it that way. I put up this fan. Although I have the fans in the ceiling of the van, it's nice to have a little fan like this that I can direct right on me, and it's very quiet and isn't going to use any electric. It's a 12-volt fan, and it plugs in right here, and there's a USB outlet down here that I just can plug it into and charge it. It has a number of settings. That's the highest, and then you can just dial it down to where you want it. It clips on and off, and I can even take it outside and use it on a table or something like that. So I'm really happy with this. It's not bad looking either. I like the little cloud. You see the cloud there. Little things like that make all the difference, I think. I also got these lights. These lights here, they're actually pool lights. They're meant to be submerged, so they can definitely get wet. And they're magnetic on the back. They also came with some suction cups you can use, but I don't think I'm going to need to. And what's nice, because they're meant to be submerged, is they don't require pointing the remote directly at them. So I mounted the remote right here, and it comes off. I just used Velcro to put it off and on. So when I get to a campsite, and the reason I'm doing this is because, and this is something I wish I'd done differently in the van, is we didn't wire for a porch light. And I've found on my shakedown trips that I really wish I had. So now when I get to camp, I can take these lights and stick them where I want them. I can stick 2 of them here on each side, or stick some at the back or in the front, and the remote will work regardless of which way I point it. You can see here, comes right on. The remote's just pointing up right now. So I think that'll be very convenient. And I just got to remember to take them down. They're going to be on my get up and go list. I have a list of things when I pack up camp that I got to remember to do, and now this is one of them. So a couple little things I still need to do within the next couple days is get a hook on this. I want to put a hook on this bulkhead wall. I also want to install a latch on this drawer here to keep it from pulling out when I'm going down the road. It doesn't happen very often, but it does happen. So I am only about a week and a half away from leaving here. Kevin made me a welding blanket to put over my camp stove, so I'll have that on my trip. And he'll show, at the end of this video, I'll post that so that anyone interested in seeing how he made it can watch that. He also replaced my battery. We were having trouble with the battery draining, and I'm not completely sure why that is. We think we have it figured out, but that'll be for a later video. So that's been replaced. It's getting close, guys. Next week I am going to put out a full van conversion video so you guys can see that, and then I'll follow it with mention of some of the things we wish we'd done different and some of the changes we are going to make. So other than that, I'm just trying to get ready and get out of here. So I'm excited and I'm looking forward to it. So until next time, please remember to subscribe, give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and follow me on my journey.
Alright, so today I'm going to try to make a cover for Cindy's camp stove, and we're going to use some welding blanket that we got off Amazon. It's 36 by 36, and then I've got some mil-spec heat resistant thread to use. Try to use the sewing machine, but if I have to do it by hand, we'll do it by hand. The first thing I did was I made a little template. I'll cut this welding fabric to this shape and then fold these sides in and stitch these sides together, which will make the box that'll fit over the camp stove and help retain the heat in. This welding blanket is 36 by 36, and I need the 3 feet to go, you know, a foot, and a foot on all sides. So it's pretty much the exact size that it needs to be. So I can't really make a mistake on it, or I'm not going to have enough material, which is why I wanted to make it out of cardboard first to see if it was even going to work. I did measure this out, and it's supposed to be 36 by 36, and one way I've got exactly 36, but this way it's 35 inches, so it's an inch short that way. So when I put this in here, this would be the top. Actually, I'm just setting it like this to look at it. I want these to be able to come up evenly on both sides, and then I'll have the back that'll come up. But I got plenty of room for that. I'll basically sit at the front. And then the back will fold up, and I'll stitch the sides, and that'll be the blanket, the cover for the stove. We've used it once already. We actually, Cindy actually made a carrot cake in it, and it took a little while, and it was really hard to regulate the heat. And we're hoping that by making this cover for it, it'll help with retaining the heat. Alright, so now I'm just going to measure it out and basically mark out the pattern, and then cut it and take it in and sew it on the sewing machine. So from the front edge, I'm actually going to come back maybe 12.5 inches, so it's going to have just a tiny bit of overlap. So this stove, when I measure it, is actually it's like right at 12 inches, maybe a touch more. But then as far as front to back this way, it's like 11 3/4 by 11 3/4. So I think that's why the 12 inches should work out perfectly. So this stuff kind of feels like a felt material, a felt type material, and it actually cuts pretty easy. It looks like it could fray a little bit, but it doesn't really fray that bad at all. So I finished the cover for the camp stove. I ended up sewing it by hand. I didn't show that on video because it was kind of boring, and I think people know how to sew by hand. But anyways, I did end up sewing by hand because the material was too thick to go through the sewing machine. The sewing machine handled the thread fine, but the material was too thick to fit under the foot of the sewing machine. But I think that's going to work well to help hold the heat in for it. There's the back side of it. The only thing that we thought of maybe doing is putting a slit in the top here that this handle could go through. That might help be able to lift it, but we're not going to do that yet. We're going to see how it works out before we cut it. But yeah, I think it's going to work pretty well for holding the heat in.